Hello. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Katie Kempner, and I am the host of Perspectives with Katie Kempner, which is an Advertising Week podcast. Please check it out. And now I think it's always more interesting when people tell about themselves as opposed to me reading it. So how about we take 1 second and everyone can introduce themselves. Dave Patron.
Great. So David Patron, I'm the head of global cards for Marriott. Been there 7 years, and my responsibilities for our 11 co-brands around the world, including our fantastic partnership we have with Chase. And I've been in the credit card industry for many years before that. Really excited to be here.
Nicole.
Hi, my name is Nicole Ellingson, and I'm a VP Group Creative Director at Quigley-Simpson. And I've actually worked on this product since its inception, so it's been really great to see how it's evolved.
Cree.
Good morning, everyone. Cree Barnes. I am the GM, and I lead the Marriott co-brand for Chase. And so it's been great working with our partners at Marriott and our agency at Quigley.
Okay, let's get into it then. So Cree, let's start with you. Can you just start by telling us a little bit about the business and also about the challenges you were facing in this campaign?
Yeah. So just high level about the business. We partner with Marriott, and we, to keep it simple, issue credit cards with them, with supporting their Bonvoy program. We were looking at our portfolio more broadly and realized that our portfolio is probably more Gen X or older and less so Gen Z. So that's not a problem that's new to most, but we were thinking about what's the approach that we're going to take to solve this problem, right? And so we thought about the portfolio at large and figured, first things first, what's the right product that could fit with our customer base that we're trying to target? And the other problem statement we're trying to solve is, how do you do it in an authentic way? How do you make sure you sort of balance the core while expanding to a new, younger, diverse audience? And so we started with our Bold credit card, which is an annual, with no annual fee product. And then we did a lot of research to think about, okay, what were the insights we need to be mindful of, and what was the unmet need, and why we were not engaging that audience in a real sort of effective way, right? We thought we had the right level of product capabilities, the right level of partnerships to focus on experiences, but we need to figure out how to make it resonate. And so part of the work was to do the research and then use the data and insights to inform what the product feature is going to be, which we'll go into in a little bit. But that was sort of the core case, right? We sort of figured out, how do we look through our partner ecosystem and our product capabilities and really solve that unmet need?
So Dave, I know there was a bit of a lack of card penetration with Gen Z. So prior to this relaunch, so how are you working? How's Marriott working to ensure that you're reaching this consumer group?
Yeah, so just a bit about Marriott Bonvoy. We obviously are a points-based program, but we really strive to go beyond that and focus on our members' need and try to curate the right experience and passion. So when you look at the brands we have, and hopefully people are familiar with the Marriott brands, we might, for the Gen Z population, have them go to a Moxie. And by the way, Moxie, it's their 10-year anniversary. It's a product that's more focused for the 20-year-olds, yes. It's a product more focused for the 20-year-olds. And so you might be, I've never done this, I've seen this on Instagram, I wish I'd done this, but they have an upstairs nightclub with like a wrestling ring and great drinks and all sorts of stuff. So we might offer that in our portfolio. Or at a program level, we partnered and had a program for Taylor Swift tickets where you can enter a sweepstakes for Taylor Swift. But our challenge at Marriott Bonvoy is that even our most loyal customers are only going to visit us, even the most loyal, maybe 100 nights, which is a ton. So most of their nights they're in their homes. And so how do we engage them from an everyday standpoint when they're not staying at our hotels? And that's where the credit cards come into play. And from a Gen Z standpoint, we really didn't have a solution that was kind of catered to the Gen Z and what they are looking for. And so that's where the Bold card, which we had for a few years running, but we made some major shifts to make that card kind of fit for that segment, which we'll talk about in a moment.
So let's talk about the creative. So the creative was based on research. And what are some of the key research findings that could be useful to all of us that you used in the campaign?
Definitely. So we actually did a lot of research, and that research was also inclusive of interviews with real people, so we can actually see how Zillennials are talking about travel. And one of the key learnings is that this group really wants more meaningful experiences, and they're willing to prioritize travel over other expenses in their daily lives. So this is something that's important to them. And they also really value their friends, their family, and they are seeking more freedom and exploration, and they see travel as a way for personal growth. And one of the cool things that we actually learned through our research is people are traveling, and this is actually true for all age groups, people are traveling for connection. They really want those deeper experiences, and so that translates in a lot of our work. We didn't want to just show a cool destination. We wanted to capture those moments where they really mean something, and it's those moments that you will remember forever.
So before we show some of the work, Nicole was just talking about travel and why it's important. Is there anything that you want to add to that travel mindset, or also, in addition to that, how is Chase enabling that with the card?
Yeah, so a few things. So I should say, one, this whole strategy and execution is a big shout out to the team. A lot of who are in the crowd today, because as Dave mentioned, we may not be in the target category, but we had a lot of support and help. And then as Nicole mentioned, we got a lot of research, right? So to do it authentically, you had to sit with the target demographic that you're sort of looking for and say, okay, how do you support expanding in an authentic way? How do you tell stories in an authentic way? And then to your question, like, what are the benefits that are going to resonate in a real authentic way? Two things. One, we added a travel now, pay later benefit, which on surface may sound like, okay, that seems to make sense, but it didn't exist on card products before. We had a promotional that we had done as Chase right out of the pandemic that really resonated and did well, but was never embedded on the card. So on the card, it's a no fee plan that you can use for your travel. And to Nicole's point on some of the insights, group travel for connections, how do you do that in a way that sort of opens the aperture and opens the door for Gen Z? And so we really leaned into that as a product feature to engage that target audience. Another thing that we did was, to Dave's point, we're looking at everyday spend, we're looking at everyday categories and saying, okay, where are the categories where that expanded audience lives, and how do we support them in that expanded audience? And so 1 is on grocery, 2 is on rideshare, 3 is on food delivery. So we had to change that up. I'll go into this a little bit later, but it's on surface, those are like, okay, those are, that makes sense. But as an organization, you have to change the way you sort of operate and do things. How do you build like data tracking? How do you build controls? How do you deliver operational excellence to be consistent? Because part of getting to Gen Z and getting to the engagement isn't about just the messaging. It's the end-to-end experience. So you have to put the customer at the center and say, okay, how do you message? How do you deliver benefits? How do you sort of do account management reporting? All of that has to change when you roll this product out, because if you do one misstep, you provide more friction in the system, and that's going to lose that target, that prospect, that existing customer experience that we're all looking to have.
You're nodding your head. Do you want to add anything?
No, I mean, I would say one thing that, in terms of the change, is some of the way we actually communicate too. So again, I've been in credit cards a long time, and when you talk about, you guys have seen this, right? You receive, probably an offer a day or an offer an hour, and you see it's like, 9x here, 10x here, this credit here. Well, we have kind of worked together. I got my notes to talk about like how we actually change the verbiage, and we actually say things like, be extra, don't pay extra, referring to golf. This is golf. Less scrolling, more scoring. Check in, vibe out, right? These are things. That was golf, yes. So in terms of the way we talk, again, I've been around the business a long time, and to actually be able to change the creative and talk to this customer base in a more friendly way, in a way that connects per the research, I think is one of the biggest breakthroughs. And I do think that language will actually appeal to non-Gen Z as well. So I think this is kind of one of the great outcomes of this campaign.
So Nicole, can you set it up? We're going to show a little snippet. Can
Yeah.
you sort of set up what we're going to see?
Sure. So we have a video that features our campaign, and everything, of course, was rooted in these insights that we're talking about. And then all of our creative work is always based on a strategic platform. And so the strategic platform is that the Marriott Bonvoy Bold Card gives you the freedom to experience the things you love when and how you want. And that last part is actually very important because this group wants more personalized experiences, and they want to have experiences that feel unique to them. And this group is very savvy. So there's a good BS meter, right? So it's not only a campaign for Gen Z, but it's actually created by Gen Z. And what does that look like? So we had diverse talent that represents this age group, both in front of the camera, on our team, on our production crew. So this was Gen Z from in front of the camera to behind the camera every step of the way. And I think that that's what really yields the authenticity that you're going to see.
Okay, can we see the video, please? Can we try one more time?
Remix.
Remix.
We'll give it 1 second, then we'll just keep talking. No? No? Okay. We'll continue and maybe it will play and that'll be awesome. And if not, we'll keep talking about it. So one of the things is tapping into culture, and that is so important. Nicole was talking about making sure it was the right people who were who were working on the campaign, so it was really very true. But everyone talks about tapping into culture, and that can be sort of something that really doesn't make it, you say it, but you don't do it. How were you able to really connect with consumers? And can you talk about that on a broad level? And then about this campaign, which you may or may not get to see. Mm-hmm. So, yes.
So on a broad level, I think, and you'll see when we have the video up, in terms of the way we communicate is so different than how credit cards kind of have communicated in the past. And that, authenticity, the language that resonates. But I think what we're also trying to do is activate in a way that we haven't and try to be where this customer is. So one of the great campaign items that we did was to sponsor the Twitch Amazon kind of city sessions. And we've enabled card members both kind of in the real world, for the people who could attend the concert, also in streaming, to see a whole bunch of kind of acts that resonate with them, like Glass Animals and a few others I have in my notes that I can pull out here because I don't know them as well. Nate Smith, Muni Long. It's again, like, this is a good thing that I'm less familiar with them because no, it's a good thing because if I was familiar with them, it wouldn't resonate with the audience. And that was incredibly successle from all the KPIs that we have on this. And I think there's a couple other activations that we've done that I know Kareem wants to talk about.
Yeah, I think one, I want to underscore, two things. One is the vulnerability, right? So when we undertook this project, part of what we had to do is take a lot of this sort of strategy and the approach to a lot of high levels within the organization to get approval because to Dave's point, like, this had not been done before in terms of like how you think about the cycle time for approving creative. How do you think about legal to get through the language that you can use and how you describe a thing? How do you work with servicing and operations to deploy a thing? I keep beating that horse because as marketers, what we sort of think through sometimes is here's how the customer receives it. How do we do the engagement? But I think increasingly it becomes sort of cross-functional in a way that particularly for organizations like us and like mine, specifically as a regulated organization, you have to push the envelope on social media channels. How do you use those social media channels? How do you think about creative? What's the turnaround time? Because the speed to market is a lot quicker. And then the talent is a lot different. Dave mentioned a few names. we had a lot of talent. We had to go vet. I felt like at times I might have been more on legal than I was as a GM. But at the end of the day, the outcomes are, hey, we found the right talent that matched the values of the organization, matched the values of the product that we're looking to deploy, and in no way in form I would say we're winning already. We're saying we're on the panel to talk about the approach. We took a differentiated approach. It's working. It got approved. The audience is engaging in the way that we wanted. And so, still more to learn, but a lot of this was new. One of the things that Dave talked about was the Amazon Twitch. We had a live stream. If I tell you how much work it was to get approval for a live stream, you would have thought I started a new business. It's work, right? Because who's gonna monitor comments? How do you, it's every motion, every part of the journey rather is like a full-time job to get reviewed and approved. Not that I think it's the right thing to do because we end up doing it the right way, but it takes time. Another thing that we just did in terms of being authentic in our storytelling is working with Haley Bailey. She has 9 million Instagram followers. She's really engaged in sort of the culture and really engaged with our target demographic. Another thing that we sort of leveraged was the universal truth that group travel, particularly in group text messages, is difficult. How many times have you said to a friend, hey, we want to go someplace, and you get 5 different opinions, and it just stalls out? And so we're like, how do you take that observation and partner with a talent that can also sort of resonate with that as an experience that they've had and create a campaign that drives awareness and engagement that, hey, this is a card for you because we're allowing for the opportunity not only to engage in travel for your target demographic, for your target destination rather, with the people you want to do in terms of group travel, but we're also doing it in a way that allows you to benefit from everyday spend, everyday engagement that you have to get to that group trip, that group travel. And so what we'll have on the part of the contest is 10 winners will get 5 million Marriott Bonvoy points to go have their trip of their lifetime out of the group trip. And so they're loading up their experiences. They're telling us the stories about how they have had stalled out group trips. And we'll, pick 10 lucky winners who will have a great time at a Marriott location. And then, we hope that continues to build on the momentum of exploring, learning, connecting, and traveling.
Okay, we're going to try one more time to show you what we're talking about. Let's try playing the video, please.
Struggling to get your trip out of the group chat? Take it to Bold Chat Court. We're giving away a total of 5 million Marriott Bonvoy points, thanks to the new Marriott Bonvoy Bold Card.
Hey.
Excellent. So I feel like there's going to be a lot of questions during advertising week where people are going to say the same thing, like connecting with culture and reaching people where they are. But that really is the crux of things, right? So Nicole, reaching consumers where they actually are, when they want to be, communicating is key. And can you share with us how you are doing that with this campaign, please?
Definitely. Well, as you can see, we've had a lot of fun with this campaign, and I think when you start there, you can build something that really resonates across every piece of the campaign. And for our creative approach, we really wanted to lean into a social-first aesthetic because we wanted to craft messaging that speaks to Gen Z where they are with content that they're familiar with. And part of that is, of course, breaking down the benefits of this card for an audience that may not have ever had a travel card. So we talked in a way that was very colloquial and friendly and approachable We wanted to make sure that those benefits were clear, and of course, we wanted that fun to come through in everything that we did. And then something else that you saw in the beginning of this video was that we wanted the branding to also feel integrated in all of this great energy that we captured. So we saw it as the jumping off point. So this card really is the catalyst for more and better travel. And that happens through our visuals where we actually zoom into the card and then zoom out to reveal all of these great moments to make the branding feel seamless for kicking off all these great adventures.
You're nodding your head. Do you have anything to add?
No, it's true. It's a jumping off point because I think once you've now defined the customer segment, you've now created sort of consistent experiences across that customer journey for that group. I think it's only now going to build on itself, right? Because I think part of it is you have to show up consistently. Right? For this type of target demographic, we can't change the messaging later. We can't go to something that is going to be one size fit all. You have to be tailored and you have to be consistent with that tailoring. And so I think the jumping off point is the right way to look at it because now going forward, we have a sort of a new approach and a differentiated way of engaging our core customers as well as our expanded audiences that we're working with.
What I would say also is that the card really fits well with what we're doing with Marriott Bonvoy, right? Marriott Bonvoy, people know as a points program to redeem at hotels, but we are building a lot of partnerships that I think will appeal to this target audience with Starbucks and Uber, and we continue to try to expand our offering to kind of meet all the different passions of our different segments, including Gen Z.
Well, and also, Cree, you also set that up perfectly for my next question to you, Dave, because this also people will probably talk about, but it's so important. You didn't try to right-size a campaign. When you decided you wanted to go and really appeal to an audience, a different audience, you didn't right-size what you already had, but you started over. Can you talk a little bit about that, please?
Yeah, I mean, I think what we have, I mean, I think the good thing where there's a lot of alliance between Chase and Marriott is we do want to appeal to the Gen Z segment, right? The power of that segment speaks for itself. So I think we just continue to kind of leverage the two assets, right, and add the features that Chase already had in other cards or in other capabilities with the travel now, pay later, as well as continue to kind of build on what we have in Marriott Bonvoy. We're expanding our offerings and then bring them together in kind of this unique way that my colleagues here spoke very well. So it's not necessarily right-sizing, but it's just a way of communicating the assets that we're building.
Did you want to add to that?
Yeah, I think I actually really want to thank Chase and Marriott for this opportunity because it does take a bit of risk and being open to trying some new things. So this is very new for this product and this category and these brands. So when you actually lean into that and go all in, and of course that risk is very informed by our research. So, it's a calculated risk.
Yeah.
But we really wanted to lean into that fun, and that was experienced throughout every piece of this campaign. And I think when you lead with fun, then everything born out of that starts to coalesce in a really beautiful way. I mean, we had so much fun making this. It was just a really, really great time. So I'm excited to share it with you all.
Okay, in honor of Carl Fremont, the CEO of Quigley-Simpson, he loves a good lightning round to end things. So let's do a lightning round right now just to finish this off. Is there one piece of insight that you could really share with everyone here from this campaign that could be useful with whatever they're doing? Dave, I'll start with you.
I mean, I think the biggest one is this word that everybody uses, which is personalization. I think we really took the kind of the chance, if you will, instead of kind of playing on the edges and maybe changing a little bit of creative for different segments, we kind of went all in to try to personalize this card to Gen Z. We've got a lot more work to do, right? Like, we need to get to Spotify level personalization, which is definitely an aspiration, but just kind of even taking those first steps, I think, is really important.
Nicole?
So I would say if you take away anything from this panel, it would be that authenticity happens when you lead with fun. And that happens when you truly invest in good creative and take risks and are open to new ideas. And again, really want to thank my team for that opportunity because it was a chance to really make something different. And that's what really resonates. I think authenticity is a word that's thrown around our industry a lot, and it's starting to lose its meaning. But what that actually means is taking those risks.
I would say keep it simple. Keep it simple is a part of the authenticity, but the storytelling, the messaging, I think will resonate when you keep it simple and you sort of direct it to the audience that you want to engage with. And I think the other part would be the consistency, both consistency in terms of the experience, consistency in the messaging. I think those are the ones that I would double click on, because I think when we think about the cross-functional teams that we worked with, when we were really simple about what we're trying to achieve, what it was actually, people can get their mind wrapped around supporting something. And oftentimes, the lot of the jargon, you miss the simplicity of, hey, here's what we want to do. Here's how we're going to talk to people in a very simple way. And I think to break through the noise of all that's sort of around us today and the lack of trust, using the trust that your brand has built and speaking to people directly can go a really long way. That's early insights.
Well, thank you for sharing with us, and thank you for joining us. Have a great day.
Thank you.